Online editor. Haven't done one of these live videos in a while, so I want to get going one because I've been getting a lot of DMs, a lot of messages. I always get a lot of messages about leg training. Sorry, let me try to fix this a little better because that's the body part that's the best on me. So people assume I know the most about leg training and the least about arm training because my arms are not that great and my legs are. So it's kind of whacked because usually when you see someone with a really awesome body part, man, this thing keeps going back. When you see somebody with a really awesome body part, genetics play a huge, huge role. And I'm not saying that somebody like myself or people with much bigger legs than me don't have great genetics for legs, but we all work very, very hard for those legs. You don't get huge legs just by doing nothing, by walking around on your ass. I have seen people get pretty big arms without doing much actual arm training, just residual effect from things like bench pressing, barbell rows, heavy compound movements for the upper body. So I want to get into leg training because, first of all, people ask me, what do you do for legs? What do you do for legs, Ron? And that's the wrong question to ask because what I do for legs at 51, almost 52 years old, it's not what I did in the years that I was building the legs. In those years, what I did was very, very different. Let's see, favorite body part to train. Right now, I would say back. So I'm trying to get this live so I can see any questions that come in, and I will get to them. Okay, there we are. Okay, come on, if I can get my mouse to work. There it is. There's the mouse. And yeah, so when I was building my legs, and I started training legs, geez, 4 years after I started upper body. I'm trying to get this leg video going. Trying to get it so I can see your questions. There we go. No. I'll figure it out later. I'll get your questions after. So when I started leg training, the very first year, all I did was extensions and curls. And that's because I was training at a Nautilus room on a college campus. And they didn't have any compound, anything to do presses or squats or anything like that. So my legs still started growing, even though that's all I was doing was leg extensions and leg curls. But when I started squatting about a year after that, so at this point I'm like 19 years old, I started squatting and my legs blew up. And I always squatted very deep. I went below parallel, not just to parallel, never above parallel, always ass to heels. And you know, genetically you kind of have to have flexible ankles. I'm sure you can improve your ankle flexibility too, but I always had good flexibility there so I could get very low. And that, I felt that was important. And a lot of people will say you just have to go down to parallel. For me, I always felt the best results came from going below parallel with squats. I call that a full rep. I wouldn't even count, when I was doing my sets, if I didn't go below parallel, I didn't even count that rep. Like if I said I have to do 10 reps and I did 9 and the 10th one I didn't get below parallel, I had to try another one. It just didn't, to me that didn't feel right. So there's been plenty of evidence that shows there's more ham and glute activation once you get below parallel. So you might say, well, why would you want to do that? Well, you want a big lower body. You don't just want big quads. It's all synergistic. You don't want a huge ass, but most of you are never going to have a huge ass. You want big glutes, big quads, big hams, big calves. You want that whole lower body to be developed. So I did very, very deep squats. I would do as many as 5, 6 working sets after warming up, and I got very strong on them. For me, I know it's people squat like 1,000 pounds now, so what I say I did is not going to be that impressive. But for many, many years, I could do good sets of 10 to 15 reps with anywhere from 400 to 500 pounds on a regular basis. It was no big deal. 500 was a big deal. I shouldn't say it was a big deal. I had a spotter whenever I did. Whenever I went over like 315, I always had a spotter, or I was in a power cage because you don't want to fail with the weight on your back and there's no, what are you gonna do, dump it behind you? It's a bad spot to be in. I've been there. So the rep range that I would do, I would warm up 135. When I was very strong, even 135 was so light it didn't even feel like a warm up. I would put 135 on and bang on a couple reps, but I was like, in disgust I would rack it immediately and then put 225 on. That'd be my first real warm up. I'd do like 10 reps. I didn't warm up a lot when I was younger. I probably should have warmed up more. I was in a rush to get to the heavyweights. So I would start off with 315 and be my first set. I would do 10, then I'd put a quarter on, do 10, 365, 405, do 10. If I was feeling good, I would do 455. And, you know, there was only certain times I would go to 5 plates. Very, very, it was rare. My quads seem to lose some of the muscle separation. I'm trying to figure out how to get, why I can't see this. Why I can't see the video so I can get to your questions, guys. Ah, here we go. There we go. Oh, man. All right, so, yeah, my rep range would go anywhere from 8 to 10, 12 to 15, 20. I would say most of my squats were in the 8 to 10 rep range because I would do my higher reps on things like leg press especially, even hack squats. But even hacks I didn't like to do more than 10, 12 reps because I like to go very, very heavy, especially when I was in my 20s, my 30s. I was all about heavy weight. And, you know, you'll hear people say you don't need to go heavy, and I don't go that heavy anymore, especially if I squat or do hack squats. I can't go that heavy anymore. I finally started getting knee pain, lower back, things like that. But when I was in my 20s, 30s, it was all about heavy weights. Hack squats, I would pile on 5, 6, 7 plates, do good sets of 10 to 12. Leg press, I could, you know, pile on all the plates in the freaking gym because your leg press is easy. You're supported. Your back's up against a pad. It's no big deal. So my rep range for legs, they would go as low as 6 to 8 sometimes on the squats. Sometimes I would even do like 4 or 5 reps. But most of my squats were 8 to 10. Leg press, I would go anywhere from 10 to 50 reps. Sometimes if I was really crazy, I would do like drop sets and it would end up being like 60, 70 reps, something like that. But I would do all rep ranges because when people say, should I do low reps or high reps? I say you should do both. Let me get some of these questions. Favorite body part to train? It's back these days. Best squat? So when I say the answer to this, it's a very, very qualified. I had a spotter and the spotter was definitely helping me. So did I really squat this weight? I guess not. I can't really say I did. That would be 765. I did 745s and a 25 on each side for, I think it was like 2 or 3 reps. But somebody was behind me with their arms underneath helping me. And I don't think I even went to parallel with that. So the best squat I ever did on my own, below parallel, with no spotter. And I had a belt. I never used a squat suit or anything, but I always had a belt. Big belt. I used the Valio 2 belt. It was like a thick powerlifting type of belt. And later I had a big Steve Cardillo USA, actual power belt. 500, 495 I should say. I think a lot of times I would put the 545s on, and then I would put the stupid 2.5 pounds on each side, just so it was 500 even. Because I didn't want to say I was squatting 500 if it was 495. Ridiculous, I know. Travis, my quads seem to lose some of the muscle separation as they get bigger. Do you think there's a particular training style that helps with quad separation, or is it purely genetic and body fat levels? Muscle separation in general, I really believe it's genetic because I see some people that have it from a very early age. I see them as like teenagers, they have deep muscle separation and they continue to have it as they get older. Other guys, I'm not going to use anyone as an example, but there are a lot of bodybuilders, especially the real dense, a lot of times you seem to see with the shorter guys too, real dense, thick muscle that they don't have clear, deep separation between the muscle groups. So with the quads, I don't know, I always had good separation and there was nothing special I did for that. They had good separation when they were smaller, when they were bigger. You do need to have very low body fat, but you know, if you've got good separation, you'll see it even when your body fat's up there a little bit. I mean, I could have a little bit of a gut going, couldn't even see a good six pack, and I could still see certain areas of my body. I could always see muscle separation. I could always see it in my chest. I could always see it in my quads. So I think separation is mainly a genetic thing. Zinedine Kadari, not about legs, so this is legs, dude, come on. How many exercises for biceps and triceps? I think 3 for biceps is enough. Biceps are very simple. It's just a hinge joint. It's just arm flexion. 3 exercises for bis, 4 for tris. That's plenty. Sir, please give me some tips to fix anterior pelvic tilt. Yeah, I'm not qualified. That's not me, dude. I'm sorry. I mean, I know all about muscles and how to build muscles and stuff. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a doctor. So something like that, I'm really no good. Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. So here's another thing I want to get into with leg training. Quads and hams. Should you split them up? Should you do them on the same day? If you have very weak hams, in relation to your quads, which most people do. Most people have legs, thighs that are quad dominant because quads are more fun to train. And this is the reason most people, I believe, have better quad development than hams, is because they do quads. They do all their quad exercises first on leg day. They'll start off with leg extensions. They'll do squats, leg press, maybe even hack squats, some lunges. Dude, by the end of that, you're almost done. And now I'm going to do hams. How much energy do you still have left in the tank? I don't care how much pre-workout you took, what you ate. You went through all that leg work with squats and leg presses and all that. You don't have much left to really give to the hamstrings. You're not going to give them the attention that they really need. So what I did for years was I would just work hamstrings first on leg day. It didn't really take away much at all from everything else I did. But the opposite is true. If you do all your quad work first, you're not going to be able to do a really good job on your hamstring. You're going to be wiped out because quad training is just so demanding. Squats in particular, dude. Squats are rough, like a dog would say. So I would either do that or I would do hams. I tried doing hams on a separate day for a while. Didn't really like it. What I arrived at was eventually I would do quads first on leg day, and then the next leg day I would do hams first. But if your hams are really weak, lagging in development behind the quads, I would definitely do them first on leg day or do them on a different day altogether so that they have the attention, the energy. You can really put the focus into them that they need, because so many times, even in pro shows, when the guys turn to the side, I'm disappointed. They have these great quads, and then they turn to the side, and the hams are just flat. I'm like, oh. When you see somebody with really good hams, most of the guys at the Olympia level have pretty good hamstrings. Nick Walker's got really good hamstrings. It's just it gives so much more visually to the way the leg looks, so much more impact. You see another question that came. Thoughts on stacking dball with anadrol? We're talking about legs, but no, I would not do that. They're two very potentially over weeks and weeks, very liver toxic. They're very similar as far as I'm concerned. You would pick one or the other. Do not do dball and anadrol. You're going to wreck your liver, and it's pointless. They're very similar. A lot of you guys just want to do pills. You don't want needles, but let me tell you, pills have to go through your liver, your kidneys. They're much more dangerous in the long run. That's why I tell everyone, if you're just going to do, just do injections. Next one. Let's hope this is about legs. Can hack squat replace barbell squat and provide the same benefits? I'm going to be the rebel here and say yes. I do believe if you can squat, unless you have some injury, some condition, some valid reason why you can't squat, a lower back injury, a knee injury, something like that, or mechanically you're just not suited to squats. Like a lot of guys who are taller, have really long legs, the leverages are all wrong. Squats just are not, they're not your friend if you're one of those dudes. Clearly I'm not. But I remember there were periods where even in my 20s, I would wreck my lower back so many times. I injured my lower back dozens and dozens of times in my 20s. And every time it would happen, I wouldn't be able to squat for a while because, the bar on your back, it's a lot of pressure. I would do leg presses, I would do hack squats, and my legs just kept growing and growing. If you work really hard, focus on the muscle, get the good contraction, take full range of motion, go deep. If you're working really hard and heavy, leg presses work, hack squats work. I always say squats seem to work the best. They're just the most difficult because you have to work so hard to keep them balanced. There's something about that makes them more productive. It forces your legs to grow to a little extra degree that they won't on these machines where everything's already balanced for you. Are leg extensions actually worth doing? What exercise would you trade in place to build that part of the leg? You could certainly never do a leg extension in your life as long as you're working hard on compound movements, and you're still going to get a lot of growth out of your legs. I don't think extensions have to be done, and I don't even like doing them as people were doing them. I used to do them for years as a warm-up. Here's one thing I figured out the hard way, which is how I figure most shit out, is when I get hurt. Do not go very, very heavy on leg extensions. It is not meant to. It's a single joint movement. It's your knees. Do not go heavy. I used to pin plates, 45-pound plates on the stack. I would go so heavy on leg extensions because I could. My quads were very, very strong. But as time went by, I would get knee pain, and I thought it was from squats. I thought it was from this and that. And eventually I read something or talked to someone about leg extensions, going heavy on them being a bad thing. So I backed off and went much lighter on them, and my knee pain went away almost immediately. So if you do them, do not go heavy. Keep your reps at least like in the 12 to 15 range. Really squeeze at the top, control the negative. Never bounce out of the bottom. Never fling the weight around on leg extension. You'll destroy your knees. But do you need to do leg extensions? Nah, I don't think so. Hi, greetings from Denmark. Any advice on growing calves? Yes. I have some weird advice on growing calves. Strange, because you guys have done all the normal shit. Try this for a whole day. Yeah, I know this is going to sound freaking bizarre. You're going to think I'm nuts. Walk on your tiptoes for a whole day. Sounds stupid, right? Sounds ridiculous. Like, what the Paris? You're out of here. What are you, high? Not yet, I'm not. No. Check it out. Ballerinas. I don't know why I noticed this one day. Ballerinas all have calves, all of them. Certainly, they can't all have great calf genetics. It's because they spend so much time up on their toes. And I remember another thing. There was spinning instructors. Check out spinning instructors. If you ever know one or see one, it's the angle of the foot and the angle. It's that repetition. Calves respond to the weirdest things. I would train them like every other day or at least every third day. I wouldn't do calves just once a week. I don't think that's enough. It's a very dense, tough muscle. It's used to being walked on all day, every day, supporting your body weight. So it's hard to really get the stimulation to force them to grow if you don't do something really extreme that they're not used to. I would do things like 100 rep sets on the seated calf sometimes. I would do slow reps, very, very slow negatives, hold a stretch in the bottom. I stole that from Dante from DC training. Flex at the top and hold that for a few seconds. This is for every rep I would do this. Weird stuff like that. Then I would go over to just a block and I would go as fast as I could. Calf raises with just my body weight, standing up on a block, knock them out. Like do 20 reps, so 20 or 30 reps so I couldn't take the burn anymore. Shake it off for a couple seconds, get back up there, do another 20 reps. Dude, my calves would be so pumped by the end of that. Now you could still do your normal straight sets of 8 to 10, 10 to 12, but I don't think going super, super heavy and just doing a few reps does much for your calves because it's a very, very different type of muscle. It's like the forearm. Your forearms are used to being worked all the time. Everything you do every time you're in the gym, you're working your forearms, whether you know it or not. Every time you grab a lat pull down or a dumbbell or anything, you're always using your grip strength. You're always engaging your forearms. I hope that was helpful. Mihai, I have a problem with squats because I have long legs and it's annoying, but calves are always a problem because I have thick quads, but not so symmetrical calves with quads. I've talked about this before, but the secret to really huge calves is having low calf insertions, the muscle. So let's say this is your knee and this is your foot. Where does your calf, let's say the bottom of your ankle. People with huge calves, their calves insert way down here, like Dorian Yates, Flex Lewis, the late Mike Matarazzo, Ben Pekulski, what was his name? Oh, he's the one that thought up the centuries. Fankhauser. They all have very low calves. If you have calves that insert way up near your knees, maybe a couple inches under your kneecap, you're never going to have huge calves. That doesn't mean you can't build the muscle that's there. You just don't have as many muscle cells to work with as someone with lower insertions. It's like, all right, look at my crappy arm. It's like the bicep. If your bicep is way over here, it inserts way low. You could probably get a peak on it, but you'd be better off with a much fuller bicep that goes all the way to the elbow like, Sergio Oliva had. There's just a lot more muscle to work with to develop. Oh man, what was the question? Yeah, your problem with squats. If you are tall, squats may not be for you, or try doing them on a Smith machine where you don't have to really balance them so much, or just work really hard on things like hack squats and leg presses. Just because some exercise works for most people doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Bench press, I never got a lot out of the bench press. I never liked the flat bench press for the bar. I sucked at it. I never did like 350. On my own, I never did more than 315, which is pretty pathetic. All you guys do like 8,000 pound bench presses, right? But dumbbells work better for me. Hammer machines work better for me. So don't worry about, I have to do squats. I have to do deadlifts. I have to do this because everyone says you have to. If you're really putting out good effort, using good form on them, and it's just, you can tell it's just not for you. Because biomechanically, you're probably just not suited for the exercise. Do something else. Work hard. You can still grow that way. Zinadin Kidari, heavyweight low rep versus high rep lightweight for calves. I would do both. Like for quads, I would do everything. No one, you can't say, well, the high reps are going to work and the low reps won't, and vice versa. I think everything hits, we have different muscle fiber types and everything. So you got to try, and I would incorporate everything. Like for calves, I'll go as low as like 8 to 10 reps. I'll go as high as like 100 reps sometimes. It all works, but I wouldn't, you could do one workout, lower reps, next workout, higher reps, or you could do it all in one. It doesn't matter, but I would incorporate a lot of rep ranges. Calves are tricky, man. You got to, unless you're one of those people that's just blessed with calves, you're going to have to really put a lot of effort in, really hammer those calves to get some growth out of them. Okay. LOL. Okay. Should you lift heavy on leg curls? If not, are there any exercises that would better train hams? Yeah, for leg curls, I don't go very high on reps, so I won't go higher than like 15. Most of my leg curl sets are 10 to 12 range, I would say. Now, here's another thing I do with leg curls. I've talked about this before. I usually do both lying leg curls and seated leg curls, either seated or standing in the same workout. The reason being, lying leg curls, you get that stretch at the bottom. You can get a really good stretch at the bottom of the rep. It's hard to get a good contraction, you'll notice, at the top. Now, if you're doing seated leg curls, it's easy to get a really good contraction, squeeze the bottom, but you can't really get that stretch at the top very well. Same thing with the standing leg curls or the kneeling leg curls like that. So what I do is I'll start with one or the other. It doesn't matter which one you start with, but I'll focus on that range of motion. So if I'm doing the seated leg curl, I'm really only worried about the contraction to about halfway up, maybe a little past. I don't worry about trying to get a stretch. And when I do the lying leg curls, I don't really worry so much about the contraction. I'll get the first couple sets, I'll go all the way up. But after that, I'll go I'll get a full stretch, feel a really good stretch, and then just come about halfway up. Now, so I've covered the full range of motion over the course of 2 exercises that I've gone heavy on. And I'll go as low as like 10 reps on that. But I don't see any point with hamstrings. They're a strong muscle group. But be sure you do not bounce out of the bottom, bounce out of the top. You never want to do that. Control the weight, because hams, you don't want to tear a ham. I've done it. It sucks ass. You don't want to go so heavy. I wouldn't go like below 10 reps, 8 reps maybe. You don't want to tear a hamstring. Not worth it. It sucks. Let's see. Here's a good one. Vincent Caballero. Hey, Ron, I live in California. I wear flip-flops here on my toes. Love all you, and you're looking great. Oh, yeah, the old school guys, they trained in flip-flops or bare feet. I squat. When I squat now, in the last few years that I did squat heavy, I was always in socks. I would take my shoes off, because even the flat-soled shoes, I felt a more stable connection. I just felt more solidly locked into the ground in my bare feet, or, with socks. You don't want to catch freaking flesh-eating bacteria from your gym floor or something. But yeah, I would never train legs, just to put it out there, in anything with a heel or any kind of like basketball shoe with air. I wouldn't do like Nike Shocks, Air Max, Air Jordans, anything with air in the heel or like shock absorber. Do not train legs in those. If you do, take them off when you're doing your hacks, your squats especially. You can keep them on for leg presses, I guess, but you're better off with legs, something with a flatter sole. All these cross-training shoes that are made by like Reebok and Nike, mostly for CrossFitters, they're awesome. They're great for leg training. Or wrestling shoes, nice flat sole. Really good for calves too. Then Mihai, also, do you know something related? Some sandals with a piece of wood block under the toes area while walking puts pressure, basically walking. Yeah, so what he's talking about is years ago they used to sell, I don't know if they still do, for many years in the magazines, they sold this calf shoe with a block under the toe part. So you basically it forced you to walk on your tiptoes is what it was doing. Yeah, so would that work? I think people swore by it. I never tried it myself. I never got a pair of those shoes, but the concept is very similar to what I was talking about at the beginning of this. Tiptoes. If you could like walk around on your tiptoes, for like an hour or something, or every time you're walking, I don't do a whole lot of walking. Walk on your tiptoes as much as you can. I guarantee you're going to get some calf gains out of it. You have to. It's something your calves, they're not used to being stressed at that angle. So Mihai had another question. It was featured in the early 2000s muscular development. Can't find it any longer. Yeah, it used to be in all the magazines, actually. I remember that more in even older, like going back to the 90s, late 80s, that shoe. Zinata Kedin, are men physique competitors marked down for having small calves? No, they are not. In fact, I'm going to throw some people under the bus. No. I saw there was a lineup last year at one of the shows. I won't say which show because I can't even remember. So they called out the top 10 at the end, and they were just going to give out awards to the top 6. So you saw all 10, and they did like a confirmation round. And they all happened to be African American at this particular show. Now, for some reason, African Americans, a lot of them have very high insertions. The calves don't go very low. So it's not like they don't train their calves. It's not like they're lazy. They train them, but there's just not a muscle to work with. So anyway, in this particular pro show, the entire top 10 had no calves. It's like almost no development at all back there. So, you know, I don't know. If they're not going to judge the calves, why don't they just wear pants? Because it would look stupid, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Men's physique, I feel like they should wear like the classic shorts, the trunks that the classic guys wore for the first 3 years in classic before they finally made them a little smaller in the hips, the strap part. But you know, I don't understand why they can't show their calves. I mean, their quads and hams. It's a physique. Why would you only be showing from the waist up, really? So yeah, they don't mark them down for no calves. If they did, most of these guys would be screwed. But you know what? I give props to men's physique guys because they have phenomenal upper bodies. All of them have huge shoulders, wide backs, and the tiniest effing waists. They keep their waist tiny. And a lot of them have, you know, arms, shoulders, chest, back, almost as much muscle on them as a lot of the guys in classic, at least. Maybe not open bodybuilding. Those guys are bigger. But small waist, man. They keep their waist so small. A lot of that's genetic, but I think it's because they don't abuse like insulin. I think it's because they don't really overeat and stuff themselves the way bodybuilders do most of the year trying to grow. I don't think they do that. Let's see, next one. Numberdor, I think it's hey Ron, where's Thomas Tiger Jaws from Tiger Towers, UK? He's from the United Kingdom, yeah. I mean, his show is on tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Global Muscle. It is a brand new season of MD Global Muscle. Was it season 6? I lose track, man. 10? I don't know. He's been doing it for a couple years. Please check that out. Awesome show. Great interviews coming up on that. On the MD Instagram page, we have the list of guests for the show. Can't remember all of them, but it was a great lineup. How often a week and how many sets you go for legs? So I do, for the last couple years, I've been doing, for many years I did legs just once a week. I did everything once a week. I would train. For many years I did Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are my training days because I was very much a disciple of Dorian Yates and Arthur Jones and Dr. Ellington Darden and Mike Mentzer. And recovery was very, very important to me. So I didn't think you were supposed to train a body part more than once a week. And I didn't think you were supposed to train with weights more than 4 days a week because you need to really worry about recovery. My legs obviously grew anyway. Didn't matter. But more recently, the split that I like and that I advocate for a lot of people, because I think it's a damn good split, is push-pull legs. Push day, chest, shoulder, tricep. Come back the next day, back, rear delts, traps, biceps. Third day is legs. Take a day off and repeat. So you end up doing, you do a body part twice every 8 days. That's what I've been doing for the last, I think it's coming up, it's at least 3 years. I've been doing it for a long time. How many sets? I don't do a lot of sets for legs, but that's because right now I'm really more in a maintenance phase. I'm not trying to get bigger legs. When I was trying to get bigger legs, I would say probably between 20 to 30 work sets for legs was about average. Occasionally I would do more if I was training with someone who was a higher volume trainer. I would do their workout. Like when I trained with Ronnie Coleman, that wasn't just me, it was a whole group of us. But it was a lot more volume. When I trained with Branch, it was a lot more volume than I would do. And occasionally I still will train legs with somebody and they do much higher volume. But for me, I did about 5 exercises for like 4 work sets each. To me, that was about ideal. What up, Big Ron? Well, here I am. That's what's up. What do you think about the Tom Platts leg training regimen? Worked for him. Worked for him. You know, I don't think copying any one person's leg routine is like the secret. I don't think there's any one magical routine, because I was talking about this with somebody today. You could give 2 people the same exact workout, and one of them is going to use better form. They're going to get a better range of motion. They're going to take it with, they're going to train more intensity. They're going to take some sets to failure and beyond. Maybe the other one won't. So two people can do the same exact workout and get very different results, even if they have similar genetics. It's not about the actual routine. It's how hard you work. That being said, you want to hit the quads and the hams. You want to do at least one good compound movement for quads. You want to always, if you can squat, I say you should always squat. You know, so back in the day, a typical leg workout for me would have been leg extensions, squats, leg press, or hack squat, lying leg curls, seated leg curls, Romanian or stiff leg barbell deadlift, and calves. I would usually do just one exercise for calves and just work the hell out of it. But you can, you know, standing calf raise and a seated calf raise, you can't go wrong with that combo. It hits the gastrocnemius and the soleus. Mihai, here you are again. What would you like to see at Mr. O? A returning of a bodybuilder or a great lineup? I mean, I always want the best lineup possible. I want all the best bodybuilders in the world. I want Phil Heath up there. I want Kai Green up there. I want Sean Roden up there. I want Brandon. I want Rami. I want Bonac, Hadi. I want everybody. Rowley. I want all the best guys. Kuklo, you know, down the line. I'm a fan. I've been a fan of bodybuilding since 1987 when I started buying magazines and following the sport. And man, I want to see all the best bodybuilders in the world who qualified. I'm saying there's 50 best bodybuilders in the world, but let's say there's 20. The top 20 best bodybuilders in the world. Let them battle it out. I want them all in shape, in the best condition, full, not flat. And that way you can't say, well, he would have placed better. But, you know, you never get a lineup where everybody's in shape. That just doesn't happen. There's too many variables, things that can go wrong. Okay, next one from PT. Is calf implants used more frequently nowadays in bodybuilding? No. I haven't seen... The last time I even remember seeing calf implants was the 2017 USA, and it was a female bodybuilder, and she was the only one in her class, and she turned pro beating nobody, which is bullshit. I say that because my last show, I've been in shows, pro qualifiers, where I've beaten as many as 20 guys, and I still didn't turn pro. So when I see somebody that shows up at a pro qualifier, and they're the only one in their class, and they turn pro basically by default because nobody else showed up, she had calf implants. Either they were implants or they was injected with a bunch of crap. No, I don't see that very often. I don't think even over all the years I've seen too many calf implants. They look stupid. They look fake. The shape is all wrong. There was one famous guy. I'm not going to name him because don't want to get him upset. But he had calf implants. And they looked like footballs. They were ridiculous. They didn't even look like real calves. No, calf implants. You're better off having bad calves than calf implants. They will score you down. The judges hates that shit. It's like synthol. Is synthol banned? If you can see it, they'll mark you down for it. If it looks stupid, you'll get marked down for it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have it, and you'll never know it because they're using it. They're going deeper in the muscle, or they don't get the weird shapes of the muscle, so they're fine. Next one, Luca Quadrelli. Ron, I remember you said you worked at Gold's Pasadena back in the day. Vic Richards was there. Did you ever see him train legs? How did he train legs? I never saw Vic train legs. I assume he trained them. The thing is, I don't think that was the only gym he went to at the time, because he wouldn't come in there every day, or even like, I would see him in there like twice a week. I'm not sure where he was living at the time. So my suspicion is he trained legs at a different gym somewhere else. I never saw him. I saw him train chest many times. I saw him do shoulders a few times. I used to spot him on chest, even though I never had to help him, obviously. Our dumbbells only went to 150 at that gym. It was a world gym, and then it became a Gold's, and unfortunately I heard it just went out of business. It's too bad. I love that place. But yeah, our dumbbells only went to 150, and that was like, you know, a regular meathead giving him a pair of like 70s or something. He repped those out all freaking day. He was pissed that we didn't have heavier dumbbells. We're like, dude, there's nobody here that really needs 200-pound dumbbells. It's just you. And, you know, you'll probably be out of here soon. And he was. He was there like 6 months. He wasn't there very long. Well, that would be sick, the top 20 show. Yeah, we know what you're talking about. What would you say, the perfect 3 steroids? I mean, they're no perfect. Testosterone is the best. Testosterone is what your body makes. So testosterone is the best steroid. If you're only going to use one thing, which millions and millions of men around the world are on, TRT or HRT, whatever you want to call it, testosterone replacement therapy, most men who who are not bodybuilders. They just want to look better, look a little better and feel younger and all that, have more energy, things like that. They just take tests. 100 to 200, 250 milligrams a week of test. I think DECA is a great steroid. I mean, the classics. Test has been around since like the 30s. DECA's been around since the 50s, early 60s, something like that. My top three would be Test, DECA, dball. That's it. Case closed. Tren is very, very powerful. Very powerful. I love the effects of Tren. I don't feel physically good after a while on Tren. It messes up my sleep. I have trouble sleeping. I know it's very toxic, and I do want to live, not to a ripe, I don't want to be 100 or anything, but I have kids. I'd like to be around. My kids are 21, 27. I'd like to be around to see my grandchildren, things like that. I'm 51. My dad died at 57. I do want to live a little longer than he lived. Anyway, so yeah, those are my top three steroids. Thank you. We got anything else? I gotta move this so the mouse works. Where's the mouse? Oh, there it is. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to see some more questions. Is that it? All right. What gave you the best results? Sleep or nutrition? For me, missing sleep affects me much worse than missing meals. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to miss meals. When I miss meals, you don't want to be around me. I'm a dick when I'm hungry. When I'm really hungry, my family nobody can stand being around me because I'm just like, I hate the world. I got to get some food in me. I like fade. I get low blood sugar and stuff. But if I don't sleep, if I only get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I'm just worthless. I can't train. I can't focus. I can't think straight. I need sleep. I'm one of those people. I don't get 8 hours anymore. I try to get like a solid 7. Seems to be okay for me. But you should strive to have everything. It's 3 sides of a triangle: training, nutrition, rest, recovery, sleep. That's all that third side of the triangle. You need all 3, or else the whole thing falls apart. So if you train really hard, your training's great, but you don't eat right, you're not going to get the results. Or if you don't sleep right, you don't get enough sleep, you're not going to recover and grow. You need all of them. So don't think you can skimp on any. If you're in a position where you're, I don't know, you can't sleep. Why? Because you have 3 jobs or something? I don't know. Do your best. Try to catch naps. Try to get your rest. Same thing with food. You got to get that food in, guys. You got to get that food in. Even if you can if you're one of those people that can only get 3 solid meals a day because you're so busy running around, get those like RTD shakes. Redcon makes a good one. Shakes. Have like 3 shakes. I'm not a fan of bars too much. I'll eat them at the shows and stuff, but I'd rather have a shake and like an apple. To me, that feels like more of a real meal. I feel more satisfied than I do from a bar. But yeah, you got to get the food in, guys. It's very, very important. Every 2 to 3 hours, from the time to wake up to the time you should go to sleep, you should be getting a meal in. And the more real food, the better. Chicken, lean cuts of beef, turkey, eggs, fish, potatoes, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, rice, fruits, vegetables, good food, good natural food. It's better, the best. The more real food you can get, the better. I remember, I don't talk about food anymore. I'm going to move on to something else. Dallas McCarver had insane calves. Yeah, he did. Dallas would have been so good, guys. I don't know if he would have been Mr. Olympia, because I've said this before. There's so many people over the years I've seen that if you told me they were never going to win a Mr. Olympia, I would have said, you're on crack. Flex Wheeler's never going to win Olympia? Get out of here. Of course he's going to be Mr. Olympia one of these days. Sean Ray's never going to be Mr. Olympia? Come on. Kevin Leveroni? I thought all those guys for sure were going to win an Olympia. Never did. There's, only one guy wins every year. And it's the toughest show in the world. Looking shredded, thank you. Yes, I've been getting leaner and leaner for summer. Not doing a show or anything, but I haven't been in really good shape for a long time. 2013 was my last contest. I'm not saying I'm going to go all the way down to like striated glutes, but I'm going to get in shape. And there's a couple local photographers that I'll probably just do some pictures just so I can say, oh, I did it again. Age 51, or, I'll be all 52 in September. I keep telling that. So what was the next one? Aaron Harrison. Oh, wait, what's this? I don't want to miss any questions. Luca Quadrelli again. Must be from Italy. Great. Who is the freakiest bodybuilder you've ever seen in person? I would say Ronnie. Ronnie at his biggest. I've seen some big dudes. Marcus Rule was a freak in person. Vic Richards, Nasser. I saw Nasser at his biggest. I still go with Ronnie, and why? He just had a different quality. The muscle just, it like hung off the bone. It was crazy. It's like the muscle was exploding off his body. He was so freaking big. You know, I saw Ronnie like walking around 315, 320, and not fat at all. Just huge. Greg Kovacs was freaky. It was a horrible physique. He had a huge gut, horrible shape and structure, but man, he was a big bastard, Greg. I saw him. He was like 400 pounds. Yeah. Next one. Do you see Chris Bum the next Mr. O for 7 or 8 years? I don't want to piss anyone off, but I do see him winning for a while. The way he transformed from 2019 to 2020 Olympias, if he kept looking the way he did in 2019, I think he was very beatable, and I don't think he would have held the title for much longer if he was able to even win again looking like that. But when he came back in 2020 with more back, more biceps, yeah, he's tough. I'm not saying he's unbeatable. Nobody's unbeatable. You know, Breon's going to go after him. Jeez, we have all these other guys. Laureus, Alex Cumbernero. You know, it's this new guy, Jones. Lord Jones is really good. Terrence Ruffin, excellent. Yeah, I don't know how long. I don't know if he's going to hold off all these guys. If any of these guys makes a leap like he did, maybe they'll beat him. You know, you never know. The Olympia is the toughest show in the world. It's the best physiques in the world. Bumstead looks incredible. I would love to look like Chris Bumstead. Who wouldn't? Wouldn't you guys love to look like Chris Bumstead? He's a freaking stallion. You know, shoulders, look at movie star face, little waists, flaring quads. Chris looks awesome. Can he be beaten? Of course, everybody can be beaten in the right circumstances. But would I be surprised if he wins 6, 7, 8 Olympias? Nope. He's freaking great. Aaron Harrison again. What's the best way to get those striated deep cuts and muscle separation in the hamstrings and quads? What's the way you made the separation between the hamstrings and quads more apparent? It is partly genetic, but you do have to get very, very lean. I don't think it's any particular exercise or anything like that. You just have to get very lean. And, you know, most people just don't get that lean. You know, if your glutes are striated, you got very lean. How many of you have gotten down to striated glutes? Some of you have, and you know you got to suffer. You have to really suffer. You got to do a ton of cardio. You got to take your carbs down low. You feel like walking death for a few weeks before you finally get those shredded glutes. I mean, I always said this, I used to compete around between my final few competitions, between like 201 and 205. That's how low I had to go down from an off-season body weight of about 230, 240. If I didn't have to have striated glutes, I could have competed easily the way I am like right now, about between like 215 and 220. But for me to get the striated glutes, I had to keep going down, 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 lose more weight. Same thing with the deep, deep cuts in the legs. I also found I needed to start taking, last couple shows I did, I took a Arimidex I never used to take estrogen blockers, but I did find that they helped get rid of that last bit of fat. And I was using Clen and stuff too. Never touched DNP. I don't like DNP, guys. I do not like DNP. I think it's too dangerous to use. Some of you are going to say, oh, it's fine if you know what you're doing. You know what? That's like giving a 4-year-old a gun and saying, it's okay. He knows what he's doing. I showed him how to use it. Not a fan. I don't know if I even answered that correctly. What's your view on Sarms? Don't really have one. I tried them. I didn't notice a lot of results from Sarms. They're suppressive. They give you a lot of the same bad effects as steroids. So as far as I'm concerned, why don't you just use steroids? I mean, at least you know what they do. They have a track record. We don't know what Sarms is going to do to you 10 years from now. People that are using a ton of Sarms, what's going to happen to them? I don't know. People have been using steroids for decades and decades. We know what happens eventually, the bad things that can happen to you from steroids. We don't know that about Sarms, so not a fan. I mean, if I'm going to use something, I'm just going to use steroids. Cardio's Revelation of Fitness. Hey, what do you think about Lionel Bakey? I think he's got an incredible physique, beautiful physique. Just needs a little more hamstring development, a little more back development, and a lot of detail and condition from the back. And then he'd be winning all kinds of shows, that guy. He looks incredible. I love that guy. It reminds me so much of Flex Wheeler back in the day. Just the real round muscle bellies that he has. and a great structure. Actually has a better structure than Flex. He's got wider clavicles than Flex did. Luca Quadrelli again. Sorry, I don't know if you've already touched on this. What was Ronnie's typical leg sessions like? Were they similar to Branch Johnny's? I don't know. You know, you can look it up. He's got training videos, and it's all over the internet. Just Google, you know, Ronnie Coleman leg workout. But yeah, I mean, they were probably not too different from what Branch was doing. Yeah, Ronnie's leg workouts are all on video. You can look up Ronnie Coleman leg training, and it's all gonna on YouTube. It'll all come up for you. But what was the question? Were they similar Branch and Johnny's? Not really sure. Recardio's Revelation Fitness. Hey, what's your take on line? Oh, you already asked me about lineup. Okay. Any more questions, or is that it? Oh, this is touching the screen, so that's why it won't let me go down. Join this channel, membership. No, I'm not doing that, but you guys can do that. How to deal with stubborn fat? Okay, Mihai. This is the last question because I'm getting really hungry. Yeah, oh shit, I need to eat. Stubborn fat. The first part of a diet is the easiest in terms of the fat comes off the quicker. The leaner you get, the harder it becomes to get any leaner than that. So to go from 20% body fat to 10%, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's not that tough. It just takes time and you know, eating clean and doing your cardio. To go from 10% to like stage condition, 5% or so, oof, it's going to take like another 6 to 8 weeks. You got to bring the carbs down way low. You have to suffer. You just have to suffer. You know, fat burning products do help for sure, but it's just about grinding out that diet. You got to keep on dieting. Like I said, my upper body used to be shredded way before my lower body. It would take me weeks and weeks after my upper body was already looking ready for the stage before my lower body was. It used to piss me off because, you know, I'd be 215, 220, and my upper body would be almost lean enough to get on stage, but my lower body still had a way to go. And I'm like, damn it. Because I was, in my head, the weight was important. I wanted to be top of the heavyweight class. I didn't want to be a barely heavyweight, which is what I typically was. I was barely a heavyweight. People used to tell me, go down to light heavy. Light heavy, I'd left to lose pure muscle to become a light heavy. And those guys were all shorter than me because they were thicker. So there was really no idea. I needed another class. I needed a barely heavyweight class. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you doing this live interaction with me. We'll do this again sometime soon. Appreciate all the questions. Please, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell thing so you're notified when we have new videos. Comment, share, leave some comments. I'll answer them. And if you want to leave a bunch of questions, I'll get to those on the next one. I'll do a Q&A based on what you leave me here. So that's it, guys. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Have a great Tuesday. Appreciate your viewership. Talk to you later.